Meher Baba's life began quietly and it ended in silence. He was born Merwan Shehryar Irani in 1894 in the Indian town of Pune. His parents were Zoroastrian. His mother's family had come to India from Iran to escape religious persecution. His father, however, was a seeker of the truth and had come from Iran to India in search of God. Merwan attended British schools in Pune. He was an outstanding student and an excellent athlete. At the age of 19, while he was attending Deccan College, he met Hazrat Babajan, an aged Muslim woman from Afghanistan who lived in the open under a roadside neem tree. Babajan was regarded as a great spiritual figure by many of the residents of Pune. In fact, as Meher Baba later explained, Babajan was a God-realized soul and one of the 5 perfect masters of the age. It was Babajan who, with a kiss to his forehead, awakened Merwan to his spiritual destiny. Meher Baba's description of this event naturally leads into the world of mysticism, as he reveals for the first time what happens when the avatar is brought down to live in human form. He tells us that at all times there are 5 souls who are totally one with God. In the mystical traditions of the East, these 5 are known as perfect masters. They are man become God. Normally, they bear the responsibility for running the affairs of the universe. However, once every 700 or every 1400 years, they bring God down into human form. This descent of God is necessary because, while the perfect masters maintain control of the world, it's only the avatar who can change the world's destiny and bring about a new spiritual awakening. To effect this descent, the 5 perfect masters draw a veil of normal consciousness over the avatar and carefully arrange the circumstances of his birth. For a while, he appears as an ordinary person. And then, when the time is ripe, one of the perfect masters lifts this veil, and the avatar experiences his true existence as God. What happens next is the most critical period in the entire awakening. Working in concert, the 5 perfect masters train the avatar to balance his state of unlimited God realization with the limited consciousness of the normal or material world. This is difficult, as the material world is only a dim shadow of God's infinite existence and has no substance of its own. Essentially, the 5 perfect masters have to train the avatar to maintain his state of total enlightenment while existing in a dark world of shadows, without dissolving the shadows into light. It is very difficult for the avatar to achieve this delicate balance, but it is essential, for it affords him the ability to effect changes in the structure and the destiny of the world. This he achieves through all that he does, as his every act is grounded in the limitless existence of God. It was also during this training period, in the hands of the 5 perfect masters, that Merwan began gathering together a small group of disciples from Pune and Bombay. And once his training was complete, Merwan led them out to an abandoned military camp in a treeless and barren area near the town of Ahmednagar. Here, next to the severely impoverished village of Arangayan, he set about establishing the pillar of service to humanity that was to become one of his lifelong avataric tasks. Meher Baba, as he was now called, the name meaning compassionate father, established a free dispensary, hospital, and a school, and for the first time brought life's basic necessities to the destitute villages. While engaged in this work, he laboured to break down India's age-old religious and caste prejudices, stressing that God is equally in everyone. It was against this desolate but peacefully remote, arid landscape that Meher Baba began describing to his small group of followers the goal of life, the purpose of creation, and the avatar's role. He explained that it is the destiny of everyone to become one with God, and said that this process of man's perfection takes many lifetimes, first through innumerable subhuman forms, and then through many human forms. He expressed that the separation that leads the soul on its journey to union with God does not in reality exist. God alone is real. God is indivisible, infinite and eternal, and God is uncreated, without a beginning nor an end. He said that the apparent division of God's infinity into an infinite number of forms is necessary so that God can express the limitless love and compassion that is his true nature. Without this apparent separation, there is no possibility of love between the lover and the beloved. He said that the charm of love generated by this separation is so great that God cannot resist taking human form once every 700 or every 1400 years. And he said that each time he comes, he gives a great push to all souls in creation on their journey back to oneness with him, explaining that when God manifests on earth in the form of man, and reveals his divinity to mankind, he is recognized as the Avatar, the Messiah, the Prophet. Thus God becomes man. And Meher Baba also says that the past forms of the Avatar have been Zoroaster, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, and Mohammed. In past ages, the Avatar's appearance has been associated with one area or people of the world. In this age, however, Meher Baba says the awakening resulting from his incarnation will be universal, and all will come to feel and know of it. In order to bring this about, Meher Baba travelled extensively, and in 1931, after having firmly established life at Mehrabad, he went for the first time to the West.
This is Sri Sadguru Meher Baba, who has not spoken one word for 7 years. I will ask him a few questions to which he will reply by means of his alphabet board. What is your mission? Help people to realize the truth in every phase of life and to make brotherhood a practical fact. Why have you especially come to America? Because there is greater energy in America than elsewhere, but most of this energy is misdirected. I intend to direct it into suitable, creative and spiritual channels.
Prem Meher Baba has come from India with a message to the West. He does not convey this message by speaking, but by his mere presence. When he wishes to communicate with people, he uses this board and points to the letters on it. My object in coming to the West is not with the intention of establishing new creeds or spiritual societies and organizations. I see the structure of all the great religions of the world tottering. The West is more inclined towards the material side of things. I intend to bring together all religions and cults like beads on one string and revitalize them for individual and collective needs.
Although while in the West he did give a few interviews to the press, in general he avoided publicity and crowds, contacting a few people instead who would become his lifelong disciples. Back in India, life with Meher Baba was never static. Those around him were constantly undergoing change and being pushed to their limits. In addition to the need to keep up with his grueling pace, his followers were also faced with trying to fathom Meher Baba's assertion that he is God in human form. Meher Baba's sister, Mani, explains.
Yes, I'm Baba's only sister. And ever since I remembering anything, I knew Baba was God and he was my brother. In this Advent, it's very heartening, very heartwarming to know that all the relatives, all the colony of relatives, have recognized Baba as the Ancient One. But my father was the one who really knew from the first. For my mother, it was difficult to accept for a time because she loved him very much as her son, and she found it very hard to give him up to the world.
Meher Baba was equally at home with the poor, the well-to-do, villagers, Easterners, Westerners, people from every background, culture, religion and walk of life. But it was not the crowds he was interested in so much as the few individuals, and these few gathered and lived around him like members of one family in the intimate setting that he enjoyed. With their assistance, he embarked on decades of effort to contact and spiritually assist the God-intoxicated souls that are largely found only in India. Souls who have become so intoxicated with love for God that they are rendered oblivious to worldly surroundings, lost as they are in the inner realms of their spiritual journey. Travelling by train, car, bullock cart or on foot, Meher Baba contacted more than 20,000 of these souls in all parts of the subcontinent. He bathed them, fed them, clothed them, and bowed down to them, giving them the necessary spiritual push to set them on their way. In 1949, while still involved in this work with the God-intoxicated souls, Meher Baba embarked on a new phase which he called the New Life. This new life comprised all of the elements of life with Meher Baba, with the major alteration that he would travel with his followers throughout India, begging for food on foot. An additional condition was that all hardships had to be faced with 100% cheerfulness. Meher Baba and his companions covered vast areas of India, walking and begging. This period of the new life lasted just over 2 years. About it, Meher Baba said, "This new life is endless, and even after my physical death, it will be kept alive by those who live the life of complete renunciation of falsehood, lies, hatred, anger, greed, and lust, and who, to accomplish this, do no lustful actions, do no harm to anyone, do no backbiting, do not seek material possessions or power, who accept no homage, neither covet honor, nor shun disgrace, and fear no one and nothing, and by those who rely wholly and solely on God, and who love God purely for the sake of loving." Although many of his explanations are grounded in the ancient traditions of the East, there's not much of what one might expect in terms of traditional religion or spiritual practices around Meher Baba. There is no meditation, initiations, membership, special diets, rituals, or dress. There is no course of study or body of literature that has to be read and mastered. There is no damnation, nor need to be saved, as everyone, by their very existence, is already saved. There are no religious hierarchies, priestly intercession, organizations, or communities of worship. Meher Baba makes it clear that no one has an exclusive right or inside track to the truth, as we are all equally one with it. He says he hasn't come to establish anything new, but to knock off the rust of dogma that religious ceremonies and rituals have encrusted around the kernel of the truth. He always stressed that the only thing God values is love. God does not listen to the language of the tongue, Meher Baba says. God does not listen to the language of the mind. God only listens to the language of the heart, which is love.